Hey y'all, how's it going? It's been a while since I've been on YouTube, a few weeks. Nathan was in Oregon and I was editing some content, this interview that I did with my sister Liz, who's also a Warm and Fed Table on Instagram. The platform that I used to record that two-way call that we were doing made the file very large, and so it's taking me a while to process it and edit it. It's making the fan on my laptop work really hard. Anyway, I'm looking for another way of doing that though. But I was able to get like maybe 2 to 3 video on that one question in particular, and then we went another way. There was something that I asked her that I had observed just among groups of women believers, and we just started talking about it, and I wanted to share that with y'all. So that'll be on a separate video, and it'll be real short because we only talked about it for a few minutes. But anyway, I thought she was a great person to introduce to y'all. She is the second oldest, so we're 4 girls. Bless my dad. He has tons of patience. And she is a working mom. She has a 3-year-old, a preteen, and a teen. She's in ministry. It's like all these departments wanting to call on her, right? Wanting her attention and needing her attention. And so from her experience, I wanted to know, when did she realize that time with Jesus was vital, crucial, important for her to do every day, for her to keep consistently going in her life, through all stages of her life and things like that. And so she starts talking about that time, that moment when she knew, this is water to my soul and I need this. And I think for us mamas, that's something that we do need to realize, that time with him is like water to my soul, and I need this. And then pretty soon it comes to, I love this and I just cannot be without him and this time with him.
I think you are a great perspective because you are working, you are in ministry, you have a little one, and you have preteens.
And one teenager.
Oh yes, and one teenager. I still see you as a homemaker. To me, a homemaker is more than just cleaning and cooking, because you could hire someone to do that.
Right.
If
and
you
still
can,
stay at home.
you know?
And still stay at home.
Yeah. But to me, it's more than just that. To
Right.
me, it's creating this Jesus culture in your home. You are making that your home. You know what I mean? And so I just thought you would be great at telling us a little bit about your time. Well, first, I think we should start on realizing the importance of having a daily time with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned in my last video that sometimes it's not quiet. As a mom, you have your husband, you have your kids, and you have other things that are constantly like trying to get your attention, pull you here and there. And they're not bad things. There are some things that need your attention. And so sometimes it's not quiet every day, but it is a daily thing. I am talking to my Jesus every day. And sometimes, not often, but sometimes it's like, okay, one's over there, one's over there. This one is going to take a bath. I can still hear her. Jesus, right now it's me and you. And then it just goes on from there,
Yeah.
And sometimes those 5 minutes can be so wow than an hour of just trying to get through one chapter. So why don't you tell us how important that time is for you as a mom? How did you know that this is important to me?
Probably when my eldest, when Naomi was between 12 and 18 months old, I realized that I was not in a very good place emotionally and mentally. That's the time where, you feel like your baby is developing a lot with her motor skills. She's all over the place, and you're having to go out and do all these things for her, and I didn't want to. I wanted to stay home. That my upbringing was in the church, and yes, my relationship with Jesus started at a very young age. I got baptized at 10, and that night filled with the Holy Ghost at 10 years old. And so I had an awareness of God at such a very young age. I was familiar with the Bible, and I was familiar with God. I had encounters with God in his presence as a single person, you know, and even married. I call it single married because you don't have kids, you know, and you have all the time, you know, he could be over there watching TV and you're over here, you know, folding laundry, watching a movie or whatever.
Uninterrupted.
Uninterrupted, right. But when I had Naomi, I realized, because I was told you are no good to your baby if you're not taking care of yourself first. And sometimes we think, well, no, let me take care of them first and then I'll just deal with myself. And that was wrong. And that's how I was doing things. I was just in a survival mode, just giving her what she needed, that she was okay. But it was requiring a lot more. And then I knew that I wasn't in a very good place mentally and emotionally, that I hit a rock bottom. I wasn't getting joy out of anything. I still didn't feel purpose. I felt like I was missing out, because here I was at home with a baby and I didn't feel anything, and that scared me. My relationships, even around me, like with my husband or with my family, with my sisters, with my dad, were kind of also being affected by that place that I was in. I felt numb. I felt like everybody was happy and I didn't feel anything. Everybody could be happy about doing something or going somewhere, and I didn't feel anything. I got tired of myself because I felt like I was also putting a lot of excuses as to why this was happening to me. When all my excuses were failing, I was faced with just myself. That maybe that the problem was my perspective, the way I was seeing things, and that my perspective was on myself, on the perfectionism that I wanted to have. My daughter needed to be perfect, you know, so I could be happy. I was frustrated that I can't have that time with God because she's here. When all of those excuses, and there were many other excuses, failed, I was just faced with myself. I woke up one morning because I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia, you know, and I just would toss and turn, and finally I just got tired and I got up and I said, okay, I give up. I'm here. And I went to the living room in my little house, the first house, you know, in K Street. I closed the doors because they were, you know, double French doors, and it made me feel like I was separated. I created a space where it was like, this is my space. I just started to talk to God and tell him, I need to feel like I'm a person again. And it was like having a conversation with God, back and forth, back and forth. It was like God didn't even waste any time, you know, like he was just already ready for me. And he was saying, yes, the only way that you can find that person is if you look at me. And so I started to develop, to wake up. And mind you, Naomi really didn't get down pat that sleeping schedule, you know. So I was still waking up real early in the mornings or in the middle of the night. She wasn't taking really good naps. But then I said, okay, you know what, God, I'm going to ask you, this is my first step to trust you. I'm going to ask you to help me with my daughter taking naps. And then I started to read books because I felt guilty. Sometimes we do baby led, and that's good. But sometimes they need to know that they belong to a family. They're part of a family, not like the world revolves around them, you know? And that's kind of what was happening in my case. Like everything was about her. And I was the one that was kind of suffering a little bit, you know? I sat down, practically, I wrote down some priorities of certain things that I needed to do differently. And even though I felt like my wrongdoing was, this makes sense, my mistake, this makes more sense than me fixing it, you know, me doing it like the way it's supposed to be. Well, God helped me, and Naomi started to take naps. And that first day that she did, I just couldn't believe it. At first, it was like the Lord was saying, sit right now in her room and just watch her take a nap. Enjoy this victory. Then, you know, the next day it happened again. And that time I kind of tiptoe out of her room because she's a very light sleeper. And I started to pray and read the word and I printed out some confessions, if we can say that, like, affirmations from the Bible that I was speaking over myself. Things that I felt like I was lacking that needed a change of perspective. And once I started doing that, I started feeling like, okay, this is air to me. I didn't realize I was suffocating. Then I switched that. Instead of just nap time, I made sure that we were busy from nap time to her bedtime so I could get her really tired, And I had to prioritize and organize a lot of things, rearrange a lot of things. And I had to kind of like just tell myself, come on, you can do it. I know you'd rather just sit here and just watch Bubble Guppies with her, But she's going to be okay if you leave her here and you go do what you need to do so you can get up in the mornings. I got up earlier than her, which would have to be like at 5:30. When I did that the first time, the Lord was like, just like you watched her take a nap, just like I wanted you to enjoy that first victory, I just want you to sit with me. And I was like, okay, don't you want me to have this prayer list? And don't you want me to do it? No, just enjoy my company. And I didn't know what that was like. That's when I realized that even though I was very familiar with the Bible, that I had some kind of relationship with God, I realized that I didn't know him. And I didn't know the person Jesus. And I didn't know that the Holy Spirit was really more of my friend and my companion, that he was going to teach me and speak to me about how to go about my day as a mom and help me out. But those first little requests, and then I would see answers, encouraged me. And that's when I realized that when I didn't know who the person Jesus was, and that he was going to help me and be for me what I needed, I was like, how can I do motherhood? How can I do life as a person if I don't know who the person Jesus is? And if we say he's the sustainer of our life, he's the essence of our life, he's the one that defines us, but is he really? Is our busyness more of our God? Is our excuses the ones that are really defining our lives? I had to just realize that no, I'm not complete and I'm lacking, and I cannot give to my daughter an example of what it is to follow God because I'm not doing it myself. I know of him, but I don't know him. And that really, it grieved me in my heart that I didn't know him, that it was just a busyness of life and just cliches. We grow up and learn those things in church. And we already know what the preacher's going to say because it's been said to us all over like so many times. But for me to have gone home and practiced the presence of God and know him, know Jesus, not just somebody that I read in a historical book, to know him as the living word, the word in action in my life. And when I realized that I didn't know that, I was like, yep, my time with the Lord is crucial. It is the most important thing before I am a wife, before I am a mother, before I am anything or whatever I do in life. That's the most important thing. Because if I say that God defines my life, or I am a Christ follower, and not doing that, it's just lip service. It's just something that we just say because we're not another religion, That's when I found out that it was important, because all of my responsibilities, my life, everything was not getting it. I was depriving myself from God.
I love that you had said, and I even wrote it here on my notes, you said, okay, God, I desire this and I need your help. And he helped you. I don't know if we see God so real, that real, to help us out as moms.
Right.
I need your help how to figure this out, how to make this work. And I need your help as a mom. He cares. I did the same thing too. Ellie was a newborn. Me and Nathan were starting Good Tree, right, in Oklahoma. I wanted to be a part of the leadership as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
And I went to Jesus and I said, I actually just want this. I think leaders, if you're a leader in the church,
Right.
a
Right.
daily thing, you need to be in the word, you know, so
Yes.
that's
Yes.
important.
Most definitely. Yeah.
But I came up to him. I said, first and foremost, I just want to do this because I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
You know, so I want you to help me. And Ellie I was nursing her as I'm telling this to the Lord. You know, I'm
Yeah.
nursing her and I said, so Jesus, I know she's only 10 weeks, I think she was, but I need your help. I got
Yeah.
Mila and I have this one and we're starting this adventure. I'm going to need your help with daily time with you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like beepity boppity boo, you know.
Right.
It was, okay, you have grace,
Mhm.
share with you my wisdom,
Mhm.
be diligent,
Yeah.
you have patience
Yeah.
to do this every day.